Okay, so it's almost time to get ready. We're 1 minute to the time for the live. And today we're talking about birthing your dream. Birthing your dream. Let's just check to see that we are actually on.
Yeah, I see some live now.
Okay, confirmed, Mr. Wright, Mr. Mindful.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so there we go. Ooh, stop. Okay, so there we go. It's 8 o'clock, 8 a.m. here in Tokyo, Japan, and it's 6 p.m. in wonderful Jamaica. For those persons who are joining from Japan, Ohio gozaimasu. For those persons joining in Jamaica, good morning, wagwan, morning. So today is a very special day. My guest today is a dear friend of mine. Her name is Natassia Wright. Now, Natassia is a HR consultant. She is an author. She is a mother. She is a wife. She is a best. She offers leadership training all over the world. And so when I thought about this topic of birthing your dream, I just thought to myself that she is that perfect person to just come on and talk about everything that comes with the dream, birthing the dream. And I want her perspective as a mother. I'm not a mother yet, so I don't know everything that it entails. But today I want to use that experience that she has had as a mother as an analogy for the birthing experience of our dreams and visions. So let's welcome Natassia. Hi, Nat.
Hello.
Good morning or good
It's
evening.
evening, actually. Good
Good
evening, Sandy. Well, it's morning for you. Good
Yes.
morning.
Boy, I miss you so much. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. What is it like? How is the weather?
Well, we had some rains today. Actually, we actually traveled to Bogwalk. It's always raining in Bogwalk, but there was actually some rains in some parts of St. Catherine. I'm not too sure what's going on in town, but it's cool. So I'm very happy because you know how our days can get really hot. So I'm
I,
very happy this evening that I actually can feel a little bit more comfortable.
I know. So you talk about I know what your days are usually like. You're Miss Busy Bee, having a life here and there, corporate conferences, corporate training. Nas, how you manage?
God of mercy, I don't know. It's God's grace. I was actually I was talking to somebody the other day and I said I just cannot believe I had a 9 to 5. How did I do it? Because now that I'm doing full time consulting and business, I'm saying to myself, I do not have enough time. I do not have enough days to fit everything in. So how did I manage before? And I literally just say it's God's grace because I don't even know how I'm able to cope sometimes.
I know, but Nas, when you think about it, did you ever imagine when you were younger that you would be doing so many things, so many wonderful things?
Oh, no, I was a dreamer growing up. What do I mean by that? I always lived inside my head. I would always have these fantasies. You could call them fantasies, you could call them daydreams, visions, whatever, of just being somebody important. So I would see myself on a stage doing what? I don't know. Sometimes I was singing, sometimes I was talking, but I always saw myself doing something in front of a crowd. And it would be so weird because I am naturally an introvert. So I don't know what I'd be doing in front of so many persons, but I always had dreams of just doing, living life big. But I never thought it was possible in reality. So my question would be no. I I had the dream, Sandy, but I didn't know that that would actually turn out to be my life.
Okay, and it's important that you mentioned that you were a dreamer, because I was a dreamer as well. I remember when I was younger, and whenever I went to a friend's house and I was watching TV, and I
Yes.
saw Owen on television. She was a TV presenter, and I thought I would just sit and watch as a little girl, and I was like, wow, she's so beautiful.
Yes.
So I would imagine myself on television. I would imagine myself talking with a mic. Hello,
Oh,
my name is Sandie Heron. How important is it for us just to delve into our imagination, whether as children or even as adults?
it is so vital. Let me tell you why. I think there was some kind of scientific study that was done that says that by the time a child got to probably like their teenage years, they would have stopped dreaming. Um, for example, like they would ask some crazy questions. Like Amy would ask me, "Oh, mommy, I want a unicorn, or do unicorns exist?" And I'm like, "No." And she's like, "Well, yes, they do, and mermaids exist." But after having conversations with adults, of course, who have experienced disappointment, tragedy, brokenness, by the time they have these conversations with the young one, they would have already groomed them to stop dreaming, groom them to stop thinking that some things were possible. But I, as a parent, I know it's very important to ensure that our children continue to dream. Because I'm sure Usain Bolt, when he was younger, he dreamt of being somebody great. And it must have taken somebody to encourage him, to let him know that, yeah, man, yeah, of course you can do it. Look at who he is today. So even as adults as well, we need to ensure that we continue dreaming because we have life. So there's still more room to grow. We still have more things to conquer. So of course, continue dreaming.
Absolutely. So Nas, when you were younger, talk to me about your childhood. I know you have shared this story so many times,
Yeah.
right? Growing up in Almond Town, that's an inner city community in
Mm-hmm.
Kingston.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not the best environment, right?
No, no, definitely not.
Yeah, I want you to share a little bit about that, but I also want to know if where you were living when you were younger, if you had anyone who nurtured and encouraged those dreams that you had.
Okay. Um, so I like you say, I tell everybody I grew up in Almond Town, poor community, but we survived it nonetheless. Did I have anyone to really encourage me to dream? I'd say that one person was my father. And that's why when I share the story of losing my father at the age of 10, that you can imagine what impact that had on me. Because if he was always the one pushing me to say, yes, you can become great, and those things that you think about, they are possible. Imagine what I felt or how I felt to know that he was taken from me, and in such a manner too, because he was shot and killed. And I tell people all the time, he was my hero, and hero for so many reasons, and one of them was just that, because he was a natural encourager. Sandy, the very way that I go out and I encourage people, they're having a horrible day, and I can say, yeah, man, you can do it. Just shake off that thing and keep going again. That was my father. I got it from my dad. So he was the one who would always nurture that. And when he was taken from me, I was so broken. I was so hurt because my mother never really had that kind of skill, right? She wasn't that type of individual. And so I think apart from that, I honestly I cannot point you to anyone who would say to me, boy, Nas, you're a bright girl, you're gonna go far, that kind of thing. I don't remember. Yes, I'm sure I had individuals like that, but he was most impactful for me. And I don't know. Just I only knew him for 10 years, and he left that big of an impression on my life.
Wow, that's amazing. Like every time you talk about your father or even your mom, I feel as if I know them.
Yeah.
I feel as if I know your father. I feel as if I know your mother. And I keep telling you that they are so proud of you. You have blossomed into everything that a mother would want her daughter to be. And I just know that she's so proud. But Nas, you shared the experience of losing your dad after only 10 years. And then your mom dying from an asthma attack. Then a year later, your grandma
Yeah.
coming from overseas to take care of you and your brother, and then losing her as well. And I know that must have been such a transition for you from
Mhm.
this dreaming child to experiencing all of these.
Oh my gosh.
So tell me, how did those things affect you? How did it shift things?
Wow. My life literally took a major turn. It wasn't even after my mother's death. I think by the time my grandmother had died, I probably um how can I say it? I probably suppressed that side of me because I'm now 18 years old. I suppressed it because I was saying to myself that, they're just at that stage, they're all just fantasies. They were never gonna come through. Um even if I had a little itty bit of faith, thinking that I could achieve those things,
Yeah.
I think I just thought that it wasn't going to be okay for me, or I wasn't going to get there, because I I had gone through so much. I said to myself, I was at this point now where I even said to myself that even if I became somebody great, I wouldn't be happy because I'd faced so much struggles, I'd faced so much hurt and pain. I didn't think I would ever know what true happiness was. So I suppressed that side of me, and I told myself that that wasn't ever going to be a reality for me.
Okay, but Nas, how were you able to turn things around from that?
Well, it's no, I know a lot of people are gonna be disappointed, Sandy, because I do not have a 5-step program. I do not have like a magic therapy or anything like that. It took years of work. It took finding the right individual to help me to mold into the person I am today. And I speak about him in every single forum I get because my husband has literally been my backbone and covering. And if it weren't for him even encouraging me to go back to church, I don't think I would be here today having this conversation with you, Sandy. We wouldn't have even met because we met from the first day of Mind Food starting. And so our purpose is so intertwined that this young man has literally been the cornerstone to everything, and this individual you see in front of you now. So it took a lot of time, it took a lot of work, but I realized after all those things had happened and I found myself at the lowest place I could ever possibly be, I realized that there must be a purpose for my life. So although I had gone through all those things, somehow I started feeling the assurance that everything was going to be okay, and
Wow.
that the story was going to come together, and that maybe I needed to talk to somebody about what I had been through, because for all those years, Sandy, I did not tell anybody. Like,
Wow.
if you had not known me, you would not have known my story. I did not talk about those experiences because I didn't want to be reminded. And the more I shared, the more relieved I was. The more I shared, the more I could help people. And I found my healing in helping people to heal. And
Wow.
so it's a process of sharing, acknowledging that I have a purpose, acknowledging that, God still has a plan for me, and then going through a process of reprogramming my mind. I changed some of the stuff I listened to. I definitely changed my circle of friends because I could no longer speak, act, and think the way that I used to do. And those are some of the things that I had to do, and it took a long time. It probably took 3-4 years. I'm still doing it now because it's not something that you can just get up and then tomorrow you feel better. That's not how it works. So it's definitely a long process of becoming this better individual. It's a becoming process.
Yes. And Natassia, you mentioned changing the narrative,
Mm-hmm.
change, switching up some of the things that you were listening to and changing your circle of friends.
Yes.
Let's talk about some of the narratives that you had in your mind. What were some of the things that you had to change mentally?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, I hated myself. Like and it wasn't that I hated how I looked. I just hated the fact that I was not happy. I
Hmm.
hated the fact that I could not find happiness. I hated the fact that I was constantly being reminded that like I've gone through some horrible things. And so some of the things that would be in my thoughts were, for example, um, I wanted to I wanted to go do something extra special for myself. I'd say, but why are you going to do it anyway? Because at the end of the day, you're still not gonna feel any better. You're still not gonna feel happier. You're still not gonna feel like you're in a good place mentally. It was just like always a waste of energy and time. And no matter how great I felt in the moment, by the time I probably got home and I would remember all these things, I went right back to square one. I didn't think I was worthy because I had gone through molestation when I was younger. So all these things were just playing on me mentally. And even physically too, because I did go through a certain phase that I was sick. Just as I'm speaking to you guys now, I remember that when I was like 18 years old, probably like after my grandmother died, I went through a period of thinking that I had that C word, right? Now, why did I think that? Because I was having some complications and it ended up that it was a benign and I had to go do a small surgery. So I was going through so many different things physically, emotionally, mentally. I was just not well. And so the things that I had to really target and try to reprogram were those things that I was telling myself, which was I'm never gonna get out of Almontown. I'm never gonna be anybody better. Although I'm going to university, although I'm trying to, work on all these different things, my life is not going to change. And so that's where I had to start, which is to rid myself of all those negative thinking patterns and just start from scratch all over again. Saying to myself, I am worthy, I am beautiful, God is blessing me. He's gonna compensate me for every tragedy, every brokenness, every wrong thing that has ever happened to me. God is going to compensate me for that. And he because he lives in me, I am whole. And that I don't need to try to fix or mend or try to fill any gap. He is going to compensate me, and I should just continue to push in my purpose, and by doing that, I will be fulfilled. And Sandy, I can be completely honest with you. These days of my life are actually the happiest. These couple years, the last one, the happiest I've been, because I know live in the moment. I know look to helping people. I don't wallow in self-pity. I know that I need to take myself whenever I'm feeling low. I need to just say no, cannot continue, and just press right ahead.
Absolutely, absolutely, Nas. Just as you're speaking, like the image that came to my mind was just you as a little girl. You as a little girl in Almond Town, walking up and down the lane, going to high school, all
Yeah.
the challenges that you had to go through, going through molestation, enduring poverty, experiencing loss. But Natassia, even then, you were the carrier of a dream.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
girl
yeah.
become a HR consultant. That
Yeah.
little girl would become someone who would be training leaders. That little girl would become an author. That little girl would just be doing so many fantastic things. And I just think to myself that there are so many other people. There are young girls even now and boys, and they're going through so much. and they too have that dream within them.
Yeah.
And it's startling to think that sometimes we just don't know we have these
Mhm.
passions and we have these thoughts, but we just can't see what will develop.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true.
And also what I thought about now that, I have written my first book, and the book is now published. And I remember just my first 2 years in Japan, and I could not have foreseen that this book was coming.
Exactly.
I could not have foreseen the television interviews. I could not have foreseen people
Nope.
from all over the world reading the book and sending me their comments. I could not have seen it from before. And I
Yeah.
just myself, what danger is there when we're just not aware that something is coming?
Oh my gosh. It's such a frightful thing to think about.
Yes.
Because if I had just given up completely, if I had given up completely, I would have missed out on everything.
Ah,
If I had given in one of those times where I felt overwhelmed and I would cry to God and I said, God, why don't you just take me? Because it makes absolutely no sense. I stay here. Or I'd have conversations with him like, why didn't you take me instead of them? Like, what? Because I don't understand what it is that you're doing. If I had given in to that thought, I would not have been able to birth that dream.
ah,
I would not have been able to be so passionate either. As a matter of fact, if Natassia had not gone through any of those things you mentioned, Sandy, I doubt I would be the Natassia that people talk about so much, or I would be that Natassia that people can relate to.
yes.
So you see, when you are in the stage, I don't know why the tears just rolling. Sure, stop. um and you see, when you are in the process of giving birth, or let's be frank, you don't even know what you have inside of you. Because the only thing you can do in the moment is focus on your pain, focus on the fact that you don't have any money, focus on the fact that things are not working out, focus on the fact that your parents are not supportive, you don't have friends, and you don't live in the best conditions. Those are the things that you focus on, not knowing that something greater is coming. And it is those trials, it's the test that you go through, it's the heartache and pain that makes the story even more compelling for others. As a matter of fact, the dream would not even be possible if you did not go through those things, like that prelude before the dream is to be manifested. So yes, it's a very dangerous path. If you don't know what it is that you are carrying, you will abort it. I can tell you that, because the process is so painful. You will say, you know what, it's not worth it. Let me go back to a 9 to 5. It's not worth writing a book. Let me just go back to reading other people's book. I don't have to write one. You get what I'm saying? You spend time on watching Netflix or whatever the case is. You say you don't have any time to do this. People somehow do not like to go through that process. And because of that, you abort the vision, you abort the dream, not even knowing what you're truly carrying.
Absolutely. Where is my co-host? Because I told her that she could make her little debut today. So where's Amy?
Annie, come here, Annie.
I told Amy she could make her debut today.
Come here. Well, this is the first, this has never happened before. Put your tongue in. Say hello. Say
Hi,
hello. Say hi.
how are you?
Yes.
Fine. Amy, do you have a unicorn? Did you get your unicorn?
Yes.
You did.
Anything want to do?
Okay. In Ami's mind, she's dreaming. Say bye.
In her mind. So, Natassia, let's talk about your experience as a mother.
Yes.
What was it like when you found out that you were pregnant with Amy? What was that like for you?
Wow, it was terrifying for me. Actually, before I found out I was pregnant, I knew something was wrong. Because I like to sleep on my stomach. And I was having trouble for a few days actually sleeping on my, on my tummy. And I was like, why is this so? So when I found out I was pregnant, I was like, okay, now I get it. But it was terrifying for me, unfortunately, because I had gone through so much. I was saying to myself, I truly hope I wasn't going to be having a girl, because I did not want her to come and experience all those things I had went through. And so it was like a bittersweet moment when I found out I was pregnant, because I wasn't sure I was ready to deal with another human being because of my own life, unfortunately. But today I can firmly say she is a complete blessing to me. But at that point in time, I didn't understand the magnitude of the gift. I did not know what I was getting into. And I was excited, I was happy. Um, but again, I did not know what I was, going to be dealing with months after or years after.
Right. And you also mentioned the fact that when we're birthing a dream, that there are some things that we have to change. You mentioned that
Yes.
earlier. What were
Yeah.
some of the adjustments that you had to make as a mother when you found out that you were pregnant?
Oh wow, so many. Um, because then I realized that my body was reacting to certain things. So
Mhm.
let's start with a simple adjustment. One simple adjustment would be I could no longer deal with strong scents. Makes me nauseated. I want to throw up. Another one would be I could drink water. The taste in my mouth was so horrible. I could not drink. I could not drink water. Even if I want water, lime has to be in it. Something has to be in it, because the normal water by itself tasted so bad. Um, and you know what I love about what you mentioned is you're drawing the parallel between being pregnant, or almost almost to the point of giving birth, with our dreams. And the truth is, when you are pregnant with a dream, you have to make so many adjustments, mentally, physically, every single alley you can possibly think of. Your dream requires you to make adjustments for it to come out in a particular way. And I went through that physically with Amy, and even mentally too, because I would be so irritated with some people because of some of the stuff they spoke. I got angry, and it was just so chaotic for me at some point in time, because I was an emotional mess. But I had to literally stay away from some things. I had to guard myself from some things, because I noticed I was being affected in ways I would not normally be affected.
Okay, absolutely. You know what I was thinking about? Like sometimes there is something that we're carrying. We're bringing that dream, and some of the people we surround ourselves with, we're talking where we have these friendships with people who do not support what we're doing.
Awesome.
We're spending hours on the phone talking to people who would never encourage us, who would never remind us of the dream, who would never say, hey, are you studying? Hey, what about the conference? Hey, let's fast and pray together. And we are on the phone with these people who are our friends for hours, 1, 2, 3 hours. And I'm like, sis, bro, what you talking about?
Yeah, yeah,
Why
yeah.
are we continuing to engage these relationships with people who do not support what we're doing?
Exactly. Or how can I put it this way? Sandy, I can share this with everybody, because we are friends in real life. Like, I have always mentioned you as my Elizabeth. And the
Yes.
reason I even call you that is because I know that my gifts and your gifts, somehow we are able to connect in such a divine way. Our babies leap, right?
Yeah.
And because we have that connection, it cannot be that you are doing something so major and I not ever find out from you what's going on, how can I help, that kind of thing. That shows that you genuinely care. But
Yes.
unfortunately, when it comes to your dream, and I want to just put this out there because people have this notion that everybody's gonna jump and help you. No, that's not going to happen. Why? Because people are so consumed with their own emotions, their own, everybody has their own thing going on. And because of that, you can't look to people to support you the way you have always supported them.
Yeah.
They don't always necessarily think like that, right? And so you have to, when you're birthing your dream, while you're saying yes, you're hoping for the support now, but you don't lay all your eggs in one basket to expect that everything is gonna be coming from this one area. So you say, oh, I'm gonna start this wholesale, or I'm gonna start this clothing store, and all my friends are gonna come and they're gonna, ensure that they get their outfit and so on and so forth. Love, let me tell you, you better have a marketing team. You better have some people who are going to be there to help you push this thing, because that's not how it is. I remember last year, Jamar and I had the National Kingdom Summit, and Sunday, my uncle walked through the door with his two daughters and his wife. And I kid you not, I was at the podium speaking, and I stopped. I stopped. I just stopped right there and then, because I was like, oh my gosh, like I hardly see my relatives anywhere. And I know it sounds crazy, but it's true, because the people that are closest to you are usually the ones, because of familiarity, they're not usually the ones who support you the most. And I want to explain to you why. Because they remember you as the little Sandy that grew up in Seaview. They remember you as the little Chantal who they used to feed, and they remember seeing your mother breastfeed you. And so that is the image that they always have of you. So even now that you're this prominent person, or you have this business, or whatever the case is, sometimes because they know of your background, they're not able to accept where you are, or they may not even understand the purpose that you have to fulfill. So when you're giving birth to your vision, yes, it's good to expect the support, but don't be too disappointed if it does not pan out the way you want it to. You cannot focus on solely having friends support you all the time, because when it matters most, in all honesty, you won't necessarily find them. And I'm just being straight up with you guys. You may not find most of them. So don't be too disappointed. That's just how it is.
Absolutely. And you mentioned the biblical story of Elizabeth. You made reference to that. And you said, I am your Elizabeth, you would be Mary. And the baby, the dream leaps whenever it is that we make contact.
Yes, yes.
I just want to touch on that a little bit, because I want persons to understand that when you are about to birth your dream, whatever it is, you need to connect with someone who their anointing and your anointing, when it comes together, there is a spark. The Holy Spirit ignites. There is a kicking in your stomach, right? You have to find those people who just after you connect with them, you are excited to go another time. You're excited to push a little bit harder. Steer clear of those people who, when you make contact with them, you feel discouraged.
Oh, yeah.
You feel as if, okay, maybe it's not going to work out. Nobody not going to buy anything. Stay away from those people.
Far away, far away.
So I just want you to touch on that as well, Natassia, just to let me know what your thoughts are where that is concerned.
Most definitely. When Jamar and I started, Mind Food. We did not know that today Mind Food would be such a large company. We did not know. My husband is so sweet. Thank you. We did not know that, we're going to be training executives and we're going to be, traveling, having events all over the world, possibly having representation from the political arena in different countries at our functions, all those things. We had no idea that was going to happen. But I do remember when we started having conferences, we would hear little voices like, why are you guys even having conferences and why are not having them free? Why are they free? You guys need to make some money. See, no, go on phone. Don't you see that, times are hard? How about you guys go and find a job? How about you guys do other things instead of, just putting on events for people to come and you're not making any money? Or when we started having large events, you would hear people say, aren't you afraid of getting into debt? Aren't you afraid that you fail? What if nobody comes? Then you would hear people say, nobody's gonna pay for tickets at that cost. Nobody's gonna come to those kind of events because they're too pricey. Or or when we were about to start our radio program, someone said to us, I don't think you should go on radio because you don't have all the money. Wait until you get a sponsor. Oh my gosh, there were just so many, and they came from every single area of our life. Sometimes you hear it about our marriage. You hear, people say, oh, they got married too quick. That I'm not sure that's gonna work. They make some very crazy remarks, and you know what we did, Sandy? We never judged them. We said, okay, thank you for your opinion, and we moved right along. We moved right along. We never had to think twice about going back to them, seeking audience, anything like that. We just pressed in, and we are still here today. And those people are still the ones coming back to say, hey, you guys are doing a great job. You guys are awesome. I saw you guys on TV. I saw an article about you guys. I saw you got the Governor General Award. We get the claps and the hugs and the smiles, but they never believed in us.
Sometimes people, they're not able to see the dream until it manifests.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So true. So true, Sandie.
Sometimes they're not able to see it, and sometimes that it's coming. That there is something that you're holding. That there is something that you are about to manifest. And sometimes we're looking for that validation from everyone around us, from friends, family members. But it's important for our dreamers who are joining us today to know that you won't always have that. No. And just as you said, Nas, we just have to keep on pushing and trust that they will come on board eventually.
Eventually, yeah.
And even if they don't, it's okay, right?
It's okay. It's okay. I what I like to tell people is that God gave you the dream. God gave me Amy. So I'm getting the kicks at night. Sandie isn't feeling it. So I know that I have something growing inside of me, right? How foolish would it be for somebody to come and tell me, oh, you're not pregnant? That does not deny the fact that I am. Not because somebody believes that I'm not pregnant means I'm not. You know what's inside of you. You know you are about to give birth. So it really does not matter what anybody thinks or says. You know it, and God gave it to you. If God had given it to somebody else, it would be their baby. It's not. So the dream is yours, and that's why you have to carry it.
Right, absolutely. There is one topic that I have not touched on just yet, Natassia, and I don't think I've heard you touch on it either. The topic of spiritual warfare. When you have that baby, when you have that dream, when you have that water, you have that big goal and you have been carrying it for years, and it is almost time for you to give birth, and all hell broke loose.
Mm.
On that hospital bed. So talk to me because we want to do it like a metaphor today. Talk to me about that day when you were giving birth to beautiful Amy. What was it like?
Guys, I till this day, I really do believe that the reason I don't have a second Amy or a little Jamar because I have been traumatized by giving birth. I was in labor for a few days actually. They tried to induce me probably about 3 or 4 times, and I could not. I don't know why. I could not dilate. I would not dilate. And the doctors were so frustrated. It got to a point where they had broken my water, and they induced me again with something even more potent, and nothing happened. And I remember the morning the doctor said to me, Mrs. Wright, I don't know why it is that you're not dilating, but we're going to have to do a C-section. And, you know, when they were wheeling me to the operating room, I remember a lady saying to me, one of the nurse saying to me, she was saying, she was comforting me. She was saying, don't worry, this is the last contraction you're going to feel. And guys, I don't know if she was lying to me, but I was so vulnerable and stressed out at that point. I believed her. I believed her that soon all my pain was going to be gone, and I'm gonna be fine. And sure enough, they injected me. And that was the last contraction I felt. And then they had done the surgery, done the C-section. By the time they had cut me open, it was revealed that the umbilical cord was actually wrapped around the baby's neck. So maybe that could have um, allowed the complication to get worse, and why I wasn't dilating, because no movement could really happen with all that constricting stuff going on inside. But the reason I mentioned that is because difficulty with giving birth to your dream can be caused by so many different things. Sometimes we take it for granted. Why we take it for granted? Because God has promised us something. So we know that God has promised us a particular life, and we say, yes, it is our right to live that particular life. But what we forget is that there is an enemy that does not want you to walk in that promise. We sometimes forget that the enemy will not make it easier for you, because the enemy knows that once Natassia Wright walks in freedom, her child, Amaya Wright, will walk in the same freedom. Or Amaya's children will walk in that same freedom. And so it is a fight. So although you are promised a house and a car, you still have to go through that process to get that house and a car. And it even involves spiritual warfare. Now, when you have your dream and you're working on your dream, yes, you're toiling. It shouldn't even be toiling, but yes, you're working on your dream. You should not take it for granted, especially as children of God. You should be fasting and you should be praying. You should be asking God for direction. You shouldn't just be getting up and partnering with any and anybody. You should be guarding your dream, because you know that it is here to free people. It is here to make other lives better. And of course, that is going to be something that is going to be fought so hard by the enemy. So you have to ensure that you are doing those things to help you spiritually mature as well. Do not take it for granted. I'm going to share this experience with you. That very same day that I had given birth, um, and they took me to, probably like the following day, they took me to my bed to recover, and Amy was there. And I remember I got such a horrible spiritual attack that night. It was almost as if I was fighting for my life in that moment. And I got up the next day and I was saying to Jamar, babes, I'm ready to go home. And of course, I wasn't sure if they would let me out, but I was ready to leave because I knew I was victorious. But not just that, I was also reminded that my daughter is here as well for a purpose, and that we will continue to fight, because now that the dream has manifested, it doesn't mean that you're going to sit back and say, hey, I'm here now, hey, we made it and that's it. No, it's a continuous fight. We ought not to let our guards down. We ought to keep going. And even once the dream manifests, you say you want to get to a particular place. Once you get there, it's not everything is well and dandy and that's it. You have to continue pushing. You have to continue praying and fasting and ensure that you are on the right track, because giving birth to the dream doesn't mean that it's even effective either. So you have to be continuously seeking God. And guys, it's not pretty out there, We like to think that people who look a certain way or dress a certain way have a particular standard of life, have life easy. No, not necessarily. That might not necessarily be true. But these people get up every day and they fight for what they believe in. And you don't know their spiritual lives. You don't know what they have to be going through. I share with Sandie all the time this current capacity that I'm in, having to serve people. You have people reaching out to you from all over the world every single day. They're asking you to do this for them, do that for them. They're asking your opinion on this. It's a lot to deal with. And so the common man who does not have a spiritual life, who is not guarded, who doesn't have covering, who doesn't have spiritual covering, you need to ensure that you have spiritual parents covering for you as well, because there are some burdens that are just too heavy to carry on your own. So guys, when it comes to your dream, you have to ensure that your spiritual bases are covered, because as much as you fought hard to manifest it, it can go just as quick, even quicker than how the process it took for you to get there.
Absolutely. And I thank you for just sharing that, Natassia, because I really think that it is one of those things that many of us take for granted.
Yeah, of course.
We're like, oh, you know, my dreams and my visions. We're sharing things on multiple platforms, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, on WhatsApp.
Mm-hmm.
And we have no idea who is looking on at what we post.
Oh my gosh.
We are not aware of the subliminal messages that come to our minds. We are not aware of even in terms of thought frequency, the thoughts that are traveling, energy that is coming towards us. And so we just take these things for granted. We post pictures and we post videos and we do lives and letting people into our spaces.
Yeah.
We're not praying. We're not really considering that we're not wrestling against flesh and blood.
And I think too, Sandie, we sometimes forget that we are human as well.
Yes.
And so while you think that all is well and you have you're secure in God and everything, you can one day pick up your phone and go on to one of these platforms and see something and it messes with you, like your entire week is a mess because you saw something that may not even have anything to do with you, but because for some reason it just hits you at the right place at the wrong time, or vice versa, and it throws you off. Or for example, you spend most of your time just scrolling through and then you're there sitting and saying, but God, why isn't this happening to me? Everybody has those moments.
Yes.
And so especially when it comes to working on your dream, I always tell people, you cannot be watching other people's race. Jamar and I preach that all the time. I don't know what level Sandie is at. I don't know how long Sandie has been working. I don't know how long Sandie has been preparing. I don't know what she invested in her equipment to be on YouTube. I don't know how long she's been on there. I don't know how long she's been studying her stuff. So I cannot get up tomorrow and say, oh, I'm going to jump on YouTube and I'm going to surpass her like in a minute. That's not how it works. And we shouldn't be comparing, because the truth is we weren't really sent here to compare each other's work. We were sent here to just do a certain work and do it to the best of our ability. Even the Bible speaks about the farmers, the sowers, the parable of the sowers, and it said that some will get 30-fold, some 70, some 100. You don't know which category you are in. You just do what you can do. And so we have to protect our dream by protecting our minds. We have to be very careful, and we have to be very careful with engaging in particular conversations too, and with whom. I'm very careful about my circle, and I'm very careful about it because I know that no matter who the individual is, envy is something that can overtake anybody. And so I will always share just enough information and no more with someone who is not very close to me or somebody I'm not too sure I can trust. All these things come into play, but you have to ask for wisdom because, again, people will try to quickly hurt you, hurt your vision, hurt your dream. And it may be that they love your vision and they love your dream, but at the same time, they just don't like you. So you have to be careful. And guys, you have to be practical. You can't be too spiritually minded that you're no earthly good. You have to remember all these things. They all play a particular role when it comes to birthing that vision, that dream. But just remember that it is a process. It did not come overnight. Now I want to bring this last thing to the table. Now, for example, I'll just use Amy. Now, while Amy was in my stomach for 9 months, what was happening during that time? All the organs started to form. All the members of her body started to form. And then in the last couple of weeks, she starts to fatten. She's to have body. And why does that happen? Why is there a specific time frame for a child to be in their mother's womb? Because all these things are done at specific periods at a time. Now, if you prematurely give birth to your dream, it is equally as dangerous because you are putting something out there that cannot fend for itself. And even you, as the birther of that dream, cannot protect it either because you have literally taken upon yourself to put it out there before it is ready. So I'm imploring you as well. You have to understand timing. Know when it is the right time to do a particular thing and know when it is time to just sit back, relax, and just wait for it.
Absolutely. I was here trying to type a post. No. Let's do it quickly. You're so right, Natassia. So some of us have birthed the dream, and you birth the baby. You have the baby. Let me use my AC remote as the baby. Have the, you have that baby, and there are so many expectations off the jump. You want everything to be great. You just birth the baby. You want the baby to walk. You want the baby to talk. You expect that you birthed the baby yesterday and the baby should be at university by the next day. No. Is that even practical?
No, it's not. I have a very good example to share with you. I remember when Amy was close to 1.5, almost 2, and this girl would not speak. Like, she would say mommy and daddy, but she would not speak, Sandie. And I was so worried for her because I was saying to myself, everybody else, like all her peers who, the mothers, we gave birth at the same time. So all our children are the same age. They were talking, they were running up and down, they were doing so many different things. And Amy, while she was active, she would not talk. And a couple months ago, I was in the bathroom and I said, look at me worrying about Amy being able to speak at 2 years old because, like, right now, I have to beg her for peace. I'm tired. I want to sleep. And she's like, oh, mommy, just give me a minute. I want to say something to you. everybody. I was told that each child develops on at their own pace. And I'll tell you that too for your dream. Each dream develops, grows, expands at its own pace. And there's nothing we can do about it. You just have to wait. You can't even set timelines, to be quite frank with you, because sometimes we have our vision and our businesses. Let's use business, and we say to ourselves, by 6 months to a year I should be earning X amount of money. But what if it doesn't happen? Because guys, look at COVID literally came. We were all, it came hindsight, everybody, it's like a blind spot that nobody saw. And just like that, most of us lost 6 months. 6 whole months. We lost half of the year. By the time we get to Christmas, everybody's going to be sitting down saying to ourselves, what happened this year? Like, I don't remember half of this stuff because the year has literally flown by. Now, when you have your dream, there will be things thrown at you that you have no control of. And I think when it comes to expectations, while you have the best things in mind, sometimes you have to prepare just in case it doesn't work out. So yes, while you expect to earn X amount of money in 6 months, you say, okay, just in case I don't make that $100,000, I'm gonna shoot for 20,000, and this is my plan to get to the 20,000. You have to think like that, and that's what makes leaders so dynamic. You have to prepare for those down times, those periods where things are not going the greatest. So when it comes to expectation, you gauge it. Don't just be frivolous and all happy-go-lucky without being practical. All right? So that's something you want to do, because you're going to be disappointed, awfully disappointed. People quit businesses, people quit being an entrepreneur, people quit a whole heap of things because they thought it was easier. They expected that things were going to turn out within 4 or 6 months, and that may not necessarily be true. So you have to be careful, guys.
Absolutely. And it's true. When you're starting off doing something and you're excited, you don't expect the disruption.
No. Oh, no.
Expect the disappointments. You don't expect the sleepless nights. You don't expect the spiritual warfare.
No.
It can be discouraging, absolutely. And that is why you need your destiny helpers. You need support.
Oh, yes.
1 or 2 people in your corner who is really there for you to encourage your spirit. So for those who are joining on Facebook, on YouTube, I implore you to identify those helpers in your life. And for you to recognize that sometimes your destiny helpers are not people who you know. They are strangers who will just come along, who will catch your vision, and God just send them to help.
God just sends them, and He sends them at the right time.
Absolutely.
At the right time.
Absolutely. I mean, when I think about you, Natassia, and I think about Jamar, Mr. and Mrs. Mindfood, you guys are the epitome of consistency.
Lord have mercy.
Imagine waking up every day and sending out a message at about 5:30 or 6 in the morning.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what about those days when you feel depressed? What about those days when there's no money? How do you still push to give birth to the dream or to keep the dream alive?
I absolutely love this question because unfortunately, these are some of the things that somehow mislead people or they become misguided, because what they'll say is, oh, but Nas and Jamar does that every day, so it's easy.
Yeah.
They'd see us, do things, and they say, oh yeah, man, they do it all the time, so we can too. However, it takes a level of self-discipline to be able to constantly go at a thing, even when you don't feel like it. when you feel those days coming where you definitely know that you are out of it, you feel out of whack, out of sorts, and you feel low. For those days, for instance, when it comes to the morning inspirations, it will probably be pre-done, meaning it's already there written. So you just get up in the morning and just look it over and then you send it out. It doesn't mean that you're having the best days. As a matter of fact, Sandy, I've had mornings where I am reviewing morning charge, and the morning charge, bless me. There's some mornings that I'm reading morning charge and I, just to send it out. And I'm like, oh man, what a powerful reminder. But it takes self-discipline. It takes knowing that it's not for a show. I want to throw that in there because if we were doing things for a show, we would have stopped a long time ago. And I'm just being honest. But we genuinely do it to help people. And we know that if we miss one morning, guys, if it gets to 6:30 in the morning and people don't get the messages, they message us, they call us to say, what's going on? Where's our morning charge? So it's a commitment. It takes self-discipline. It knows that it's literally being responsible for ensuring that they are inspired in the mornings. So when a dream is manifested, it's not just about, oh, I'm an entrepreneur now, so I go into work anytime I feel like. Well, if you do that, you won't get paid. So you have to do the work even when you don't see anything happening, even when you don't feel like doing it, because you have to produce, you have to encourage people, that you have to take care of your family. So these are some of the things you have to take into consideration. You have to be committed. You have to be self-disciplined. My gosh, you have to be self-disciplined and you have to be really ready for the call. That call for that higher purpose, it takes all those characteristics. It's not Jamar would say it's not a fly by day kind of thing and pitch by night. No, it takes work. It takes time and effort. And a lot of times we look at people and we say, oh, they have life put together and they look so nice and they this, and you wouldn't understand what it takes. There was a meme that I shared a few weeks ago. It said that Beyonce rehearses for eight months to do a particular performance. And then at the bottom of the meme, it said, but yet still you expect things to work out for you overnight. That's a hard truth, Sandie.
I know I certainly cannot dance like Beyonce. So I know she must be doing something right. Natassia, as I hear you talking just to know, what's just jumping out at me is just how important it is to find things that we're really called to do. And one of the issue that so many people struggle with is this issue of duplicity, where everybody is looking on and trying to copy someone else. They're trying to copy how people look. They're even trying to copy people's personality, which I think that you just can't do.
No,
so
you can't.
It's so important for each of us to find our inner passions or drive, what it is that sets you apart from everybody else. What is it that makes you unique, and tap into that. And I think what you and Jamar have found is your sweet spot.
Yes.
Some years ago, you have really found your sweet spot, and it makes such a difference.
It does. And Sandie, I'm gonna complete that for you. We have found our sweet spot, both Jamar and I, and we don't aim to be anybody but ourselves.
Yes.
So we found that spot, and there is nothing else out there that dazzle our eyes to say, oh, we want to do that too. We're like, listen, this baby right here already takes so much out of us. We don't want to go take up any other burden right now because we know it's going to take our attention and focus away. And I've always been, one thing I must tell you, Sandie, although I have went through such turmoil growing up, I always knew who I was.
Mm.
I always knew who I was. So even though I didn't have parents, I never did drugs. I
Mm.
was never even, I had people who would just say, "No, man, just take a one whiff or whatever," and I'm like, "No, I'm not interested. I don't want that. I'm not gonna drink until I get drunk. That was just not me.
Yes.
It was just not me. I knew that there were certain things that was just not me, and I knew I wouldn't fit in that. And till this day, I still don't try to be that. I
Yes.
tell people all the time, the same person that's here sitting talking to you, when you meet me out there, is the very same people you get.
Yes.
Because I think it's too much work to be this person in front of you now, and then when I get out there, I have to act a particular another way. And so we aim to continue to be genuine, but we do not operate outside of the periphery of what we have been assigned.
Yes.
So
Awesome.
yes, it looks good on you, Sandy, that you're doing video production and you're doing all these amazing things, but it's not me.
Yes.
I know that. And I don't have an intention to operate in what you do because you look good. I can do what I'm supposed to do and look good. I can
Yes.
make it look good because that's what I was born to do. And unfortunately, I really do believe that because people are so focused on the social media and on the hype and on all the frivolous things, the excitement, that's why they lose focus. They forget that they ought to be paying attention
Yes.
to their assignment. You cannot be watching everything else happening. Yes, it's good to admire people, but while you're admiring the people, ask them their struggles too, so
Yes.
that you can be prepared for yours,
Yes.
right? But remain who you are and stick to your assignment. You will
Absolutely.
save yourself much trouble.
Yes. Let me just jump into the comment section, Natassia. So I have talked through series here who is asking, how do you maintain your focus?
You and I don't know if that's an easy question. You know when you're going off track. There is usually something that is very intrinsic that will tell you, listen, you are doing nonsense. Like you are just going too far. Or something will say, hey, why is this even important to you? I know that I'm off track when I don't feel as fulfilled as I should. For example, if I'm even sitting here for 10 hours while I get off of here and I feel tired, I'm still happy. Like, listen, it, I'm in my element, so I'm not burdened, I'm not stressed out, I'm doing me. But if it is I'm placed in a situation where I'm agitated and I'm so upset. I don't want to be in the room. I don't think, I'm worried about time, that kind of thing. It would usually tell me that I'm doing the wrong things. And so what I try to do is I try not to fill my plate too much. I know that sounds crazy because I do so many things, but my plate is still not full to me because I'm sticking to my core. So yes, I may have 10 lives, but the 10 lives are sticking to my core. And so I ensure that what I am doing, it is still fulfilling the mandate and the assignment. I don't want to be steered off track. So you have to know what your core is.
Okay, absolutely, Nas. I don't want to make the live much longer because we've already gone over 1 hour. I don't even know how. But one of the things that I struggled with for many years, especially when I just started, this whole purpose walk, was that I think I took on too many things too quickly.
Oh yeah.
When you start doing something and when you start pursuing your divine calling, let me tell you, there are so many things that will compete for your attention. Everyone will want you to be on their team. So
Oh
let's say
yeah.
you are a singer and your assignment is to stand at the side of the road and sing. That is your assignment. As you sing, someone will say, "Hey, come, let's do a dub." Hey, come, let's sing on the choir. You know, I'm producing a music video. Come sing in that. And if you're not careful, you
You're
will be
gonna do everything.
going to do everything except that
Singing on
one
the corner.
specific thing, that thing that makes you unique, that God has called you to.
Yeah.
And so, for those persons who are here, it is important for you to identify what your thing is. And there will always be something about your thing that makes it a little bit different from someone else, because we are all different people.
Exactly.
We're all different people. Natassia is different from me. I am different from Natassia. And based on who we are and our different giftings and talents, there are things, there are places that we can operate in excellently. And there are different graces. The grace that I have, Natassia doesn't have it. And the grace that Natassia has, I don't have it. So I can't expect to be in Natassia's lane. You won't see me putting on conferences. I mean, if I put you, but I don't feel called to put on conferences. I don't feel called to be an HR consultant. So I don't feel as if I have the grace to do that. So just because you're doing it, I'm not going to jump on board to say, okay, I see Nas doing it, I'm going to copy.
Right.
So it's very important for everyone just to identify, as you're birthing that dream, to identify how exactly that dream should operate based on your uniqueness.
Exactly.
Talk Truth says you sound like Jamar. All right, Natassia, you've been doing this for over 7 years. We're gonna close. What is that one important, most important thing that you have learned that you would want to share with those persons who are looking to birth their dream or who have already birthed it? One or two
Wow.
things.
Wow. All right. I'm gonna give you one.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very important. While you see, once you come into a particular level of influence, or you come into a particular light where people see you as inspiration and they can draw on you, you have a lot of different people speaking in your ears. There is something that I completely put right up there at the top, and that is I know how to tune out and tune in. If I feel overwhelmed, if I feel as though people are saying too much, and I don't want to be misguided and I want to ensure that I'm doing the right thing, I will tune out everyone and I will tune in to ensure I am doing the right thing. Now, what do I mean? The one who gave me my assignment will never mislead me. The one who assigned me this particular thing to do, he will always guide me in the right direction. And so while you have so many people, saying, hey, you should come do this, do that, do that, do that, I am not fearful to say, okay, I'll get back to you tomorrow. I'll get back to you next week. And if it's a no, it's a no. If it means that I have to go and find somebody to assist that person, I'll do it. But I know when to tune out all the voices and tune in to hear what my creator is saying so that I am not misguided. The second thing is, Sandie, I know my lane, I stays in my lane. I will not jump out of it. I can tell you. And I'm very quick when people come to me with suggestions. I'm like, no. That's not me. And I move right along. So you have to stick to your assignment. You have to know yourself, know thyself. And unfortunately, not many people know themselves. And because of that, they're all over the place and nothing fruitful is happening. So I prefer to stay in my lane and develop what it is that I have been given the grace to do. And then the third thing is that you need a support system. Oh my gosh, my husband, friends like Sandie, they are like incredible support to me. And people scream a lot and say, "Oh, you know, Natassia is so inspirational, whatever." And there are days when I will look at people and be like, "No, I'm just the face. It's Mr. Mindful. It's not me. I'm not the real star." So it's good to have support because you will have down days like anybody else, and you need to have people to talk to.
Absolutely, absolutely. Natassia, thank you so much. Guess what I'm holding? I'm holding
Hold on. I'm gonna show off, guys. Hold on one second. I'm gonna show off. There is absolutely nobody who has this many books of I have a whole stack here. Let me show one particular one. Um, Look what I got. So
Look at
this is Sandie's book that has just been published, and it's an excellent read, guys. Please ensure that you get a copy of Journey into the Unknown. Now, if you are here in Jamaica and you need a copy, you need to call me and I'll ensure I hook you up with the delivery. It's $2,200. It's also in York Pharmacy, and we are working on so many other locations, guys. So pretty soon, if you are in Mobile and you're at the airport, you can get your copy. If you're at Norman Manley, you need a copy, you'll get it. Yes.
absolutely love it. Guys, remember, birthing your dream, it's very important. We are rooting for you. And if you have an idea in your mind, COVID
Yeah.
2020 has not stopped it.
No.
It is still possible.
Yes.
Very, very possible. And so, guys, be inspired, be encouraged. Think about those persons you have in your life who can encourage you.
Mhm.
People who are looking to copy you, but people who are really invested in your well-being. Natassia, I know your heart. I ask you to turn off the fan.
It's actually not off. I'm not crazy.
Where is my little dream? Where is Amy, the co-host today? Let me tell
She
her
is gone about her business.
Aldit says, wonderful lady. No, Mona says, wonderful ladies.
Hi,
And
Mona.
says, a price tag can never be placed on a good support system.
Amen. 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 Amen to that.
And Talk Truth series is bigging up Mr. Mindfood. He says, especially one who's a great husband.
Oh, yes.
Pina went to Woolmer's with us. Thank you for joining. She says, amazing work, ladies. And Talk Truth has been so active in the chat today. Thank you, Talk Truth series. I need to check out your channel afterwards. He
Yes.
says, you are an amazing friend. And I can attest to that. You are one of the best, one of the best friends ever. That friend who will say, hey, is there anything that I can help with? Hey, Sandie, your launch coming up. You need to fast. You need to pray. Let's fast.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Somebody who I can pray with before the big events, and somebody who really supports me. And so I consider myself to be blessed to have you in my corner. Guys, for everyone tuning in on Facebook, for persons streaming on YouTube, thank you so much for joining us today. Share with us your thoughts.
Yeah.
It's Shanique Davis, by the way. Hi, Shanique. Hi,
Oh,
Shanique.
yes.
Okay. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Nas, thank you so much for sharing today.
Most welcome. Most welcome. It has been my pleasure to share the time with you guys this evening and this morning for Japan's people.
Yes. All right. Sayonara. Come now. Say sayonara. Sayonara means bye. Sayonara. Come now. Say sayonara.
Sayonara.
But you have to bow. So go sayonara.
Sandie, goodbye.
Bye, guys. Very nice.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.